Remember all the sick Dragon Ball games for the PS2? Yeah, there were so many of them. I specifically remember spending hundreds of hours playing the original Budokai trilogy. The board game style in Budokai 2 was fire, and the open world exploration in Budokai 3 blew my mind as a kid. I was obsessed with these games, and it came to me as no surprise that people are still playing them actively today, either through competitive play, or as I would find out, through speedrunning. I know fighting games aren't usually what come to mind in regards to speedrunning, but these games have great story modes. Of course people are gonna run them. A dedicated few runners have taken on the task of trying to optimize the original Budokai games, with one game and category reaching heights never seen before. And that is Budokai 1 Any%. A fairly straightforward run on paper, but throughout this video, you will learn how much this brutal speedrun will test your patience, and perhaps even drive you mad. 古の戦士たち The year is 2002, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai is released for the PlayStation 2, and then for the GameCube a year later in 2003. An HD collection featuring Budokai 1 and 3 would also come out for PS3 and Xbox 360 a decade later in 2012. The game is centered around the story of the anime and is separated into 3 sagas: Saiyan, Namek, and Android Saga. Dragon Ball Z Budokai is a 2.5D fighting game, and has you play as a multitude of characters throughout the main story, where your objective is to deplete each opponent's life bar down to 0 to progress through the game. There are a total of 22 fights you need to get through to complete the main story, and for the Any% speedrun, the objective is to complete all of them as fast as possible. The first ever speedrun for Budokai 1 Any% would come from a runner named Kakarot, who posted a run of 34:58 to the forums of Speed Demo's archive in February of 2014. In the post, he outlined some strategies he used in his run, and a desire for someone to compete or collaborate with. He claims the run is beatable by a full minute, maybe even 2, and links his run. The first thing to take notice of is his goddamn horny-ass split background, bro. Holy shit! I've looked at a lot of anime split backgrounds in my time, but I don't even know if I can show this one. So I'm just gonna not. Yeah, let's just talk about the speedrun. Kakarot's first opponent in the run is Raditz, and his general strategy for taking him down involves a trick mentioned in his post on the SDA forums that would later be universally coined guard cancelling, or just cancelling for short. Certain moves in the Budokai trilogy have this glowing slow motion attack that can be charged depending on how long you hold down the button for. If you press guard during one of these charging attacks, your character will reset back to its neutral position, and you can do a new string of combos while your opponent is still in hit stun. Kakarot opens the Raditz fight with a basic 4-kick combo into a guard cancel sidestep to get behind him while he's still in hit stun, where he does a 4-punch combo into a Kamehameha for nearly a full bar of damage. Hitting enemies from behind does 25% more damage as opposed to hitting them in the front, and Kakarot tries to repeat this combo a few more times but fails his cancel, and so he has to wait for Raditz to get back up. After defeating him, it's time for the minigame. Yeah, this section is infamous for being stupidly hard for no reason. I distinctly remember breaking my first controller as a kid from rotating the sticks too aggressively. Kakarot scrapes by on his first try, and moves on to fight Nappa and Vegeta, using the exact same strategies that was used on Raditz. These fights against the Saiyans belong in the D tier. Nothing to worry about when you're speedrunning the game, just your typical early game crooks. Kakarot had one death at the very end of the run, so he had to redo an entire fight, which is why he thinks his run was beatable by a minute or 2. And he was completely right. His run would get beaten by nearly 2 minutes. In July of 2014, Rubber Ducky Assassin and Boohead86 would begin racing Dragon Ball Z Budokai on Speedruns Live, culminating in a 33:03 set by Rubber Ducky Assassin on the 16th. Strategy-wise, his run was definitely inferior to Kakarot, as he didn't use guard cancelling and mostly spammed the basic punch combo into an occasional Kamehameha. His run was only so much faster because it was deathless, and because he was playing on GameCube, which had faster loads over Kakarot's PS2 version. Still, both of these first showings were merely a sign of things to come. The game had still yet to see some real optimization, just a couple of races and fast casual playthroughs. But this would change in 2015, with Lil Duke Duke. Having experience in multiple different Budokai games and also Smash Bros, Lil Duke was a certified fighting game player, and it showed in his run of 3257 that he would set on March 21st, 2015. His Goku combos were far more advanced than anyone before him. He starts out with 4 kicks into a guard cancel sidestep, where he does forward punch kick from the back into another cancel, back kick to keep him stunned, forward kick punch into cancel, and finally a 4-punch string into a Kamehameha, draining Raditz' health bar down to nearly 50% after just 1 string. He even does a bit of juggling later on for extra damage. It was clear Duke knew how to play Budokai, but wasn't satisfied with his time, so he decided to push for lower. 4 days later, he would be on a run with a sloppy early game, being 13 seconds behind after the 10-minute mark, and the difficulty was about to step up a notch as Duke arrives on Namek. These are the C-tier fights. Nothing absurdly challenging, but certainly a pain in your heel. The first fight is against Raccoon, and it goes pretty smoothly for Duke. He does his usual combo strings and takes him down without much of an issue. On Ginyu, Duke also gets a fairly clean fight. He does a pretty cool strat of keeping him in the air by transforming into Kaioken ×5 to extend his juggle. Transformations in this game will net your character a 10% damage increase depending on your form. In the case of Goku, Kaioken ×2 gives you an extra 10%. Kaioken ×5 gives another 10%. Times 10 is another 10%, and finally Super Saiyan, where Goku will deal 40% extra damage over his base form. You unlock these transformations as you go through the game, so for now, all Duke had to work with was Kaioken ×5. After the fight is over, Ginyu uses his body change technique to swap bodies with Goku, and you now have to fight Goku as Ginyu. And it's here where we learn the 3 main ways you can lose time in Dragon Ball Z Budokai. The first is of course your opponent fighting back. The time they spend dealing damage to you is time not spent dealing damage to them. The second is your opponent not waking up after a knockdown. If you find your opponent just lying there, the best thing to do is either to shoot a Ki Blast at them or to do forward PKK. It's not guaranteed to work every time, so you occasionally have to spam this move 3 or more times to get them back on their feet. And the last one, blocking. This is the biggest time loss you can suffer in this game. The AI will sometimes randomly block for an extended period of time, and there's nothing you can do to get past it. You just gotta keep attacking and hope they eventually let you through. Duke loses a bit of time when fighting Goku because of the blocking, but this is nothing compared to what you'll see later. He continues his run while being in the red the entire time until the very end.
Are you fucking serious? What the fuck, man? That is dumb as fuck and I'm mad. What the fuck is this game?
What is this game? It's a good question, Duke. I'd like to think that reaction came from a very genuine place within himself. The feeling of being behind the entire time, then you magically PB anyway? I'll give you an answer, Duke. This game is RNG hell. What you see is what you get. The game is nothing more than executing combos correctly and praying the opponent cooperates. With such a simple game, you would think it would be like stealing candy from a child to get a good run. Yet, it's anything but. Duke had the skills to take the time lower, but called it quits there. And so, a different player would have to come along and tame the beast.
道を拓く先覚者
Meet Runic Blade, a speedrunner of many classic 90s and 2000s video games, such as Sly Cooper, Shrek 2, and Crash Bandicoot 2. In 2015, Runic decided to run Dragon Ball Z Budokai after seeing Kakarot's run, and quickly got within range of Duke's record.
Damn it! So close to world record. Literally 1 second off.
Runic was the first person who seemed determined to put some proper attempts into Budokai 1 80%, and so he snagged the record with an unrecorded 31:37, while running on the slower console, the PS2. He would lower his time to 31:19, barely surviving the final fight with a slither of health. Seeing more potential to go lower, Runic had his sights on a time in the 30-minute range, and he would get a chance the very next day, having defeated Goku 6 seconds ahead. But Runic was about to hit a wall. A tough opponent that challenges you with 3 fights in a row. Frieza. This guy can be a menace to your runs. For starters, Frieza has a smaller profile, or rather, he's what we like to call a short king. So if you don't time your attacks correctly, you can easily whiff. He also loves to fight back, and his sidestep is an instant transmission, so he can be an unpredictable opponent. One strategy Runic used at the start of Frieza 1 was to immediately transform into Kaioken times 10, to stun him for a free opening. This would become the strategy for any fight where a transformation is possible. This is however not possible on Frieza 2 and 3, as you begin the fight in Super Saiyan, which is the highest level of transformation Goku can go to. If RNG goes your way, you can absolutely burn through these fights with Goku's 40% damage buff, but of course that's fairly rare. Frieza 3 in particular went really poorly for Runic, as he refused to stand up when knocked down, and blocked the final Kamehameha. Another challenging fight in the B tier is Android 19, the first fight of the Android saga right after Frieza 3. Your main concern here is the fact that you're doing this fight with viral heart disease, so your health is constantly lowering itself as time ticks. Runic's fight goes essentially perfect here, but if 19 decides to fight back, you could potentially risk dying. At +1 on his splits, he starts clawing the run back through the endgame, and at last, he achieves his goal.
Nice.
Runic was happy to leave Budokai alone for a while and moved on to speedrun different games. With only a couple of poor fights throughout, the record would stand for a good while. Around this time, the HD version, which was its own separate leaderboard, would see some competition from Saiyans and Toasterman 95, with its record falling all the way down to 21 minutes. The HD version is quite a bit different in that it has nearly instant loads, and it's not really possible to combo opponents from behind as they will just turn around. While HD had its own separate leaderboard, PS2 and GameCube were still combined, and Runic's run could easily be beaten if anyone near his skill level did a run on GameCube, and that's exactly what Back would do in November of 2016, scoring a 29:04 and 28:59. With the second run being 6 seconds better than Runic's run execution-wise if we remove the load times. Runic had taught Back how to play Budokai, and there was no way that he would let the pupil surpass the master. So Runic would come back to Budokai, still on PS2. His basic Goku combo in his 30-48 started out with forward PKK into a guard cancel sidestep, then a 4-kick combo from the back. But if we look closely, you can see that one of these attacks misses quite often. To avoid this, Runic now does his combo order in reverse to ensure the guaranteed damage every time, adding consistency all throughout the game, at least when controlling Goku. Goku is the only character I've really talked about so far with the exception of the one Ginyu fight, but you play as a few different characters in a Budokai 1 speedrun, and they are all total dog shit. Let's talk about the two fights in the A tier, where you play as Gohan. 5 minutes into the speedrun, Kid Gohan has to face off against Vegeta, and as a character, he sucks. Runners have tried for years to find something optimal for this fight, but what you're seeing right now has been the meta since the start. Just mash square and hope Vegeta doesn't block. Despite there being some obvious mistakes in the fight, Runic gets through with a small time save and would keep building up the lead throughout Namek. After Android 19, Runic is bordering on 29 pace with a massive 40-second lead. But one fight is about to ruin everything, and that is the third to last fight against the Cell Juniors. Once again, the strategy is literally just to spam punches, but there are 7 of these guys with very aggressive AI. They can fall over, block, dash attack, backstep. It's by far the longest split in the run, and if it doesn't go well, you will bleed time. Runic closes the run with a 30-24, but he surprised himself with how much time save there still was. Sub 30 had to be possible, and Runic was determined to get it.
Yes! Fuck yeah! 30-19. Yes! That's it. That's a sub. Yes! Let's go. Let's go. That's me done. PS2 sub 30. I think that's me done with this game.
Ending in style with a Super Kamehameha, Runic achieved a sub 30 on PS2. It might have not been the world record, but it was the best executed run of the game by far. And that's all he cared about. Runic Blade did a ton for Dragon Ball Z Budokai speedrunning. He would leave the game behind, but wrote a detailed guide in Google Docs, and created a tutorial for guard cancelling, in hopes of inspiring others to go above and beyond.
必殺七転八倒
Runic Blade achieved his sub 30 in January of 2017, and for the next while, the activity for the game would die out a bit. Saiyans would improve the HD record to a 20-minute time in that same year, and Thomas XV would lower it to 2039 2 years later in 2019. A friend of Thomas had expressed interest in speedrunning Budokai 1, and offered to race him as the game was fairly straightforward to get into. Little did Thomas know that his friend would go on to be the greatest player this game would ever lay its eyes on. This is Glitched.
What the fuck? Drop red now, you fuck.
Are you serious?
I am the GOAT. Wow, I love Kingdom Hearts, my favorite video game ever, rated E for everyone on the PlayStation 2. And we're out here talking about some, dude, I like fucking beat my schmeat to the plot.
Huh?
Glitched is like that friend you had as a kid. If you're stuck trying to beat a boss, he'll just come over and get you through it easily. You're playing a party game or something, and he'll just be winning without even trying. In the underground of PlayStation speedrunning, Glitched is a certified legend. He has world records in the original Kingdom Hearts on PS2, Dark Cloud, several Silent Hill 3 categories on console, a full main category sweep of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, and the list goes on. His Speedrun.com profile is a Hall of Famer, and to make it even better, Budokai 1 was his next target to collect more trophies. Glitched was playing the game with a PS2 disc on his backwards compatible PS3 to try and even out the loads versus GameCube, but after the mods decided to split all the consoles into their own separate subcategory, he swapped his focus to PS2 to improve on the foundations that Runic Blade left behind. Glitched thoroughly read through Runic's guide and noticed a section that talked about combo resetting, that Runic only really used on Raditz. Budokai 1 has insanely rough combo scaling. The more you increase that combo counter in the top left, the less damage you end up dealing after each consecutive hit. The combo counter caps out at 13 or more hits, whereafter every subsequent hit will deal 0 damage. What combo resetting does is essentially waiting for each string of your combo to wear out before attacking again, meaning that your next set of moves are unscaled and deal more damage. Glitched saw huge potential in combo resetting and started using it all throughout the game to save massive time. In September of 2021, Glitched had already achieved the record by 1 second, with an unrecorded 29:42, but he knew he could demolish that time. He would get gold after gold. Having defeated Frieza, he's 28 seconds ahead, and after the Cell Juniors, he's sitting at -45. This was his chance to make history.
Fuck, bro. We still got the sub 29, but fuck, he didn't die. Still not that bad. GG's. Let's fucking go.
Glitched had smashed the next minute barrier with a huge PB, all thanks to combo resetting and some solid luck throughout. He decided that he was going to go lower, but from here on out, the record would enter its most optimized stage yet. No more big 45-second improvements, you had to squeeze out everything you could. And it's all because of the Deadly 7. These 7 fights are by far and away the most run-killing fights in the game, with the main culprit being Cell, 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 and Cell. You do not fuck with Cell in this run. You have to fight him 5 times, 3 of the times being with Teen Gohan, where the best strategy is to knock him up into the air and juggle him with regular punch combos. You would think the hardest of them all is the final Cell fight, but you couldn't be more wrong. Cell 1 and Android 17 are some of the worst fights in this game, and it's all thanks to Piccolo. Piccolo is fucking terrible in this game. The only way to stun these guys and get behind them is to connect with this stupid non-true kick combo that has this super long delay between the second and third hit that the opponent blocks all the time. You will get messed up by these guys. They will grab you, block for 1,000 years, backstep at the start of fights, and do everything possible to not let you win. Glitched wasn't gonna let that deter him, and after getting through the awful Vegeta fight with Kid Gohan, he was heading in to the 2 fights that caused the most resets when running this game. And that is Training 1 and Training 2. Yes, the fucking training missions when Goku is heading to Namek is the hardest part of the run, and I'll tell you why. Training 1 is as simple as reflecting 15 ki blasts, and really it never used to be that complicated. Earlier runs would just back up to a far distance and reflect the blasts away one by one. But Thomas XV had figured out that it was possible to reflect the blasts back and forth between Goku and Vegeta, but he wasn't sure how to do it consistently. He forwarded the information to Glitched, who would find a debug menu for Budokai 1 that was posted on the Cutting Room Floor wiki page, and when using its tools, he discovered that the Training 1 reflection was consistent if you spaced yourself just right, so that the units between yourself and Vegeta would be somewhere between 83 and 87. Doable in runs, but very precise. To make things harder, Vegeta does these annoying mini ki charges that move him back a handful of pixels every time, so it's extremely hard to get in the right position because he's always moving a little bit. Glitched does not find the magic spot for a long time and loses 8 seconds, where he's now contemplating a reset if Training 2 doesn't go favorably. This is where players are taught about the clash mechanic, where 2 charging attacks will put you into this combat sequence, and you have to rotate the sticks yet again with every fiber in your body. And I'm not gonna lie, this shit looks sus as hell, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Like, almost 8
Thank you. Controller's up here. Controller's up here.
Glitched only rotates for the first 2 clashes as Vegeta gets harder and harder to beat with each clash, and by the end, it's just faster to let him win. The most irritating thing about this fight is this dumb uppercut that Vegeta will just spam over and over again, that doesn't clash with any of your attacks. He does it a few times to Glitched, but he escapes with a solid time save and decides to keep the run going. It started looking a bit grim at Namek, but after a gold on Android 17 and Cell 5, he had gotten himself a new record by 2 seconds. And if you're confused by the splits, it's because Glitched achieved this time during a 100% attempt, which starts out by completing a regular any percent run first. The potential with this run was obvious, and Glitched knew he could still push the time down. Runic had bested Budokai with his calm demeanor and consistent strategies, but with the game now relying on RNG more than ever, it would become harder to stay composed. But Glitched is no ordinary speedrunner, and he was ready for that challenge.
That is a fat PB, boys. Let's go. 28:31. That's a really good time. I think I PB'd by 3 seconds.
28:29, an amazing time achieved by the game's greatest runner. On Christmas Eve 2, as the cherry on top, Glitched was happy to put the game down for a few weeks to run other games, but soon, a rival would begin to creep up on his time, and together, they would embark on the journey towards the fabled 27-minute time, a grind that would make them both lose their mind.
戦士狂おしくなる
Long ago, Kakarot would kick off the adventure that is speedrunning Dragon Ball. Lil Duke Duke and Runic Blade would revolutionize the game and turn the speedrun into something greater. Glitched, with his incredible gaming skills, would raise the bar of Budokai to a new pinnacle. But now in 2023, a new challenger was about to enter the ring. And his name? McNuggets!
Put it right there. Put it right there. Put it right there. Go ahead. R.
No. That looks... What is that?
McNuggets, or just Nugs, is a one-of-a-kind character. But don't get me wrong here. When it comes to Budokai, the dude is undeniably skilled. He and Glitched had been battling it out as rivals in Budokai 2 for years, where they would trade the world record back and forth. And after McNuggets landed on a 47.05 and had the Budokai 3 record as well, he was looking to snatch Budokai 1 for a trilogy sweep. Nugs would lower his time to 29.21 and then to 29.10. Only 40 seconds off the record, he kept pushing, and he would get trolled a lot.
Oh, it's like that now. Dude, okay. I am. This is how I lose my run! Yahoo! Yahoo! After losing his marbles at Burger King, Goku is now serving a life sentence. He figured out they have foot fungus on his burger, and he launched a Kamehameha towards the manager.
Aside from getting terrible RNG, McNuggets was also struggling to close the gap because he was playing on English, also known as the NTSC-U version. Glitched had purchased a Japanese NTSC-J copy of Budokai simply for the cooler voice lines, but as a side effect, it turned out to be 20 seconds faster. So when Nugs got a hold of the Japanese version, he would enter the 28-minute range very quickly with 28.47. With him now so close, Glitched would get back on the horse to defend his record, and scramble together an unbelievable 28.10, a run that was 30 seconds ahead after Cell 2. But McNuggets kept grinding and was now 9 seconds away with a 28.19, with a 23-second time loss to Cell 4 at the end. The rivalry was at its peak. Nugs wanted the sweep, but Glitched wanted the 27. Both of their goals had one thing in common: lowering the world record. And if they wanted to do that, they had to work together against the game. They had to combine their minds and get in the lab. For Goku's combo, McNuggets suggested adding forward KPP as an additional combo before the finisher to Glitched, which then got added to most fights with a lower level of transformation. If the whole sequence is done right, you can drain your opponent down to exactly half health, meaning that 2 in a row comes out to a perfect kill. Glitched would optimize the Teen Gohan combo on Cell 3, 4, and 5 by adding in 2 empty punches after the knockup, then doing the full 5-punch string to finish the juggle. Additionally, Back Punch was incorporated as a possible backup launcher if Cell blocks the forward PKK. All of the Cell fights are still ludicrously random, but now you would have to win fewer neutral game openings to take him down. The two would work together on optimizing the Ginyu fight as well. The strat formerly used to copy what runners would do on the HD version, knocking the opponent up with a kick combo and getting a few hits in on the way down. Now, a proper combo had been created with some clever back punches for the most amount of damage. And finally, Light Grenade would start seeing some use on Android 17 as a viable finisher for Piccolo. While these strategies would prove to be faster, it still didn't matter if the RNG wasn't on your side, and the game was not playing nice.
Dude, what do you mean, dude? Oh. 11 hits.
I fucking love Piccolo, dude. Such a good character. Fucking done with that shit. Fuck that.
What? Gosh. Dude, why, man?
Dude. Fuck my balls.
Oh my.
Fuck Piccolo. Seriously, worst fucking character.
Worst of all during this grind had to be the Great Wall of Cell. You just never see all 5 fights go right in the same run. No matter the pace, no matter the comeback potential, Cell was there to take away any hope.
Dude, come on! Oh my gosh, I can't hit him. Great, run's dead again.
This game is gonna give me fucking brain cancer. Oh my fucking god. Fucking pray for me, dude. Pray for me. This has to be it, bro. This has to be the run. This is the closest I'm going to get for a while. Let me play the game, please, Piccolo. Goodbye, run.
No way, dude! That did not connect! You're smoking crack! Oh my... Ah! Dude, why? There's no way, man! Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so mad!
This was just maddening. Everything that could go wrong was going wrong. Run after run would die to something completely new they hadn't seen before. Despite their best efforts, there was no PB in sight. But they both kept pushing, knowing that the victory would be all the more sweet in the end. Glitched would finally break his own record with a 28:05 that he unfortunately forgot to highlight. McNuggets, after hearing the news, had some mixed feelings. He was of course happy for Glitched, but why wasn't it him? Why couldn't he break through? He just wanted to get the world record once, so he could hold a trilogy sweep at one point in his life. Why couldn't he clutch when it mattered most? His next stream would be a pity party. Black and white webcam, text on screen saying he'll never catch up to world record, and his girlfriend had broken up with him that same day and is non-stop texting him mid-run. I'm not making this up. All the while, there's depressing music playing in the background. I don't know why he decided that Budokai attempts was the move today, but he would start to build up a lead on Namek. Cell 2 would put him to 13 seconds ahead, and while Cell 3 would crush his lead, he shook it off, because he had time to gain on the last 2 fights, so he locked in.
It's any percent. Budokai 1, 2, and 3. It's all 3, man. It's all. Dude, I have been having just the absolute worst time lately, man. I have been having the worst time lately.
It may have been by 1 second, but McNuggets was the king of Budokai, baby. And despite the turmoil he faced, he decided that he was going to continue his grind and join Glitched in the quest for 27. He had come this far. Surely, the last 5 seconds couldn't be that bad. Right?
What? Oh. In what universe does that not connect? In what universe does that not connect? In what
What the dude? Why is that shit happening? Fucking backstepping mid combo and falling over. There it goes again. Backstep mid combo. Stop doing that. It's like fucking 3 fights in a row, man. Okay, this is fucking obnoxious, dude. Literally every fight since Frieza. Fuck this.
Okay. No. Nope. That punch tilted me.
Dude, I hate Piccolo. Fucking useless character. Useless character hours. Dead run hours.
This is my villain arc. Someone comes in, first time chatter. Oh, I love Budokai. How's the speedrun? Shut up. Boy, you don't get Joe.
Alright, we'll take that. Fuck yeah. That's what I needed. God damn it, I fucked up the last one. It's still fine. I'm still really far ahead. I still have time save on these last 2 splits. Fuck yes! Fuck yes! Fuck this shit!
The 27 was real. Glitched had finally done it. The dedication these two guys have for Budokai 1 is seriously impressive. Compared to runners prior who had very few attempts, both of these guys combined have thousands of hours doing runs and labbing in training mode. Compared to other speed games with similar run counts, it's hard to find 2 runners that are just that much more committed than the rest of the field. Nugs would try for months to get his own 27, and that attempt counter would just keep climbing, with nothing but crash outs to follow.
Oh my gosh, please. What? Wait, does that win or does that lose? What? No fucking way you got the IQ for that shit. Ah, what a great... I don't want to play anymore, dude. Please, man. What? What the?
Finally, he would land himself a 2802. Not enough for 27, but 1 step closer to his goal. In the background, Glitched was going through his own struggle. The madman that had gotten the first 27 in Budokai still wanted to go lower. His skill was undeniable, and he wasn't gonna let any of these fuckers stand in his way. And during a one-off 100% run, Glitched would get this run.
Nice. The run is in Cell's hands now. Words cannot describe the level of sketchy that fucking fight was. The tiniest PB is possible. I'm pretty sure. Could be real. I need a perfect cell 4 and 5 if I want a game out. Oh shit. Could be real. Could be real, boys. It's all up to cell the 5th. Be nice to me. Yes! Fuck yes, dude! Finally a fucking PV! Holy shit! Let's go! Let's fucking go! Finally!
And that, my friends, is where the world record stands for now. Dragon Ball Z Budokai has had a rather interesting history. Early runs of the game were quite wholesome, rediscovering a childhood classic and racing it with your friends. But over time, as the game got more optimized, it would begin to show its teeth. To speedrun Budokai at the highest level, you need to keep your head cool and have an ungodly amount of determination. Because if you don't, you will go insane. The leaderboard on speedrun.com only consists of 8 runners for the PS2 version, so my buddy Rebel and I decided to pick up some copies and bump it up to 10. But still, the guys who did the most work are the 2 at the top. My hat's off to Glitched and Nugs for putting in an incredible effort to optimize the game. Unless a new sequence break is found, the only way to lower the time is getting cleaner fights. And we'll see if 26 ever happens playing the game this way. A task was created by L5 that clocks in at 25:38 when adjusted for load times, so Glitched and Nugs still have over 2 minutes to reach theoretical perfection. The two actually met up for the first time not too long ago for an anime speedrunning focused event in Florida, which was pretty cool to see. The guys are very close and support each other's grinds.
We grilling it up here, we got the food, we got the freaking boys. Look at this man cooking out here, shit.
Nugs recently, as of writing this video, has gotten down to 28:01, so tantalizingly close to a 27. I highly recommend you go follow these guys to see what they do next, and consider checking out speedruns for other Budokai games on speedrun.com. If you want to see someone who does the nastiest cancels in Budokai 3, check out this guy Adrian Proshka. He's sick with it. And of course, if you want to see more speedrunning documentaries like this, I recommend checking out my Conquering Jack 3 series. It took me over 2.5 years to make, and will likely remain my magnum opus on this channel. In any case, that's all for now. Thank you to everyone who helped me create this video, and a special tribute to Akira Toriyama for creating an incredible franchise. Long live Dragon Ball, and long live Budokai. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and supporting me on Patreon. Take care, and have a good one.